see over with Karma previously. Great addition to the Rogue roster, but here we are watching Rogue versus SQ.
The only team that has scored more goals per game so far today than the Sonics, G2. That's pretty good company. Unfortunately, the Sonics have also given up a ton of goals. That's why they are 1-1. Shock missing that ball off the backboard, but Sathu will bail him out. Shock needs this away, looking for J. Russ. Does find him. Now Sathu downfield, beat up by Turinturo, and this is dangerous as Rogue try to work downfield. You give Turinturo any amount of space, especially in the air. He is a very dangerous player.
I try not to take the server warm-up too seriously, but when I was watching Turinturo just mess around in the warm-up, he was very close by Sathu. Triple save, will there be a goal here? Shot can't squeeze it in! And J. Russ isn't able to either. Oh my gosh, that was such a close squeeze. But yeah, as I was saying, so the Turinturo, he was having the best time. He was really showing off all of his mechanics and also being very childish in the in-game chat. So looking to have a good time here today as they attempt to try and take down SQ.
The first killer, there is demo number 1 in the series for him as he plows right through to take out Sathu. Now J. Russ can't clear the zone as Bernobi keeps this in. First killer's going to have to go back. They need him on the defensive end for a little bit. The boy First Killer had an outstanding grid performance just a couple of nights ago. Big bump by Shock opens things up for Sathu.
Shock, being the player that Cole identified, obviously he did end up winning MVP in Season 9 of the RLCS, and he was outstanding there, outstanding once again, manages to clear out that net, and SQ taking the leading goal in this series.
But Rogue looking to answer right back. Bernobi, backboard for First Killer. He has to wait as Shock got there first. Now they'll try to feed the hot hand in first, but that shot's gone wide. Now try to bully Shock in the net. And then Shock comes off the ceiling of the goal to make the save. Boy, talk about making the most out of a terrible situation. Is Sathu going to race to the side here with Kronovi and do a good job getting that ball downfield. Sonics looking to add to their tally. You cannot have too many goals against Rogue because they are never out of it.
I think that comes down to the longevity that this team has had in the Rocket League scene too. Kronovi, the most well-known player, being that... will this be in? Not quite. Being the veteran of the scene across any team that he would enter. And First Killer making his name for himself in the 1v1 scene as well. So lots and lots of composure on this team. Turinturo being slightly less adept at dealing with that pressure and the longevity that this series can hold. But yeah, lots and lots of background with this Rogue roster.
Turinturo trying to get by 2 defenders, could only get past 1. First Killer will intercept here, and he's got enough boost to follow this up. Got his reset, and Shock read him all the way. But then Sathu couldn't get the touch, and Kronovi punishes him for it.
Sathu really should have got that touch as well, I feel. He went up quite early and would have easily beaten out Kronovi. Shock didn't expect to have to try and make the save. Isn't in a good position to after he went for the save at the net. Definitely down to Sathu there, giving away the second goal.
So all the work that the Sonics had done gone by the wayside, and First Killer almost got one of his own. Kronovi makes it 2-1.
Right off the kickoff as well, Rogue immediately back in it. Sathu jumping up what looks like in no man's land, nowhere near the ball. The ball was never going to get to him even with a strong breeze it wouldn't have got close. And Rogue can take full advantage.
Sathu not having the best opening game as this ball's going to go well past him. Shock almost got bumped by Kronovi. Great job concentrating to avoid the bump and make the stop. He'll get downfield, but only as far as First Killer. Now Kronovi, it's a jailbreak the other way. After this, I think, got by Sathu again.
That pop from the corner completely takes J. Russ out of the game. Not even necessarily pushed too far forwards, but Kronovi getting the perfect touch to go over the top of him. Didn't want to pass it central either. He fancied the goal for himself.
And there are 2 defenders that were caught out there on the side of the Sonics. Now First Killer smells blood in the water and Once he gets going, it's like a snowball rolling downhill, but that second touch by Turinturo is thrown off Kronovi. Sathu will roll this home, and he'll get one back for the Sonics.
I feel kind of dirty saying that this might be the first doink in the RLCS that myself or Cole have seen, and I've done it without him. I think technically that's a doink, and I'm so sorry, Cole, but Sathu brings it within one goal.
121 is an eternity in Rocket League, as we've seen. Boy, First and Sathu, I think we're both trying to block each other. Neither actually went for the ball. So now Sathu trying to win this race. He has beaten First Killer out on that exchange, but Turinturo will collect. He's got First Killer downfield, trying to take out J-Russ, and J-Russ avoids him, makes the stop. We've seen the Sonics have been very aware of the physical play that Rogue is trying to take at them as Kronovi does take out Shock. This opens up an opportunity, but it's a great job by Sathu just barreling through Turinturo, but then he hangs around, stays with the play, and he'll add another insurance goal.
Sensational dunk. Look at him jump off the wall, completely catches Shock off guard. The speed from Turinturo to get back in time to firstly think of that and then do it and then get the goal is fantastic. Well, that's one of the reasons why he was brought on to elevate this Rogue squad.
Shock, this is on target that First Killer has to get to very quickly, as the Sonics almost got that right back off the kickoff. 30 seconds now as Turinturo looking for a double to center here for First Killer. J-Russ makes sure it remains only a 2-goal lead. The Sonics have to get downfield in a hurry. J-Russ being slowed down by Kronovi on the wall, and that may just well do it.
I absolutely love when you see these mechanical players go for pre-jumps and just get into the weirdest positions, and somehow it works out. First Killer there, nearly getting on the end of Turinturo's fantastic assist, but he will not be able to. Doesn't matter though, as Rogue will win game number 1, 4-2. And I think, Stacks, the biggest issue there for Susquehanna Soniqs, they just kept missing the ball.
Yeah, that's... I mean, you look at 3, I think, of the goals that the Sonics conceded to Rogue there. You gotta feel like those are kind of cheapies or gifts that Rogue didn't necessarily earn those goals. And when you look back at your run through this regional, when you only get 3 lives, you're gonna look back, I think, at that game in particular and go, I don't know, probably should have gone a little better.
I don't necessarily know if it was a case of any of them even being faked out by the Rogue offenders, because Sathu seemed to have a couple of dramas towards the middle of the game where he went up too early, Kronovi wasn't there to match it. Fine, they lose the goal to it. But then later on, he then did an odd backflip, and he wasn't able to get ready in time. And I don't necessarily know what's happening with Sathu in his mindset with those mistakes, but hopefully he can talk himself out of that hole. Sonics can come back into it, because they've already lost to Rogue recently. They don't want to do it again.
By the way, Kronovi with a hat trick in that opening game. His 8th, 9th, and 10th goals on the day. Been a resurgence for the wily veteran. Here is Shock. Got significantly less playtime under his belt than Big Crow, as J-Russ trying to center here. He cannot. That's just going to be popped up for Kronovi, who's been the man of the hour for Rogue, at least so far.
Yeah, Kronovi has been... A lot of people say that he maybe isn't at the top of his game anymore. I think that's very harsh. I think he is one of the most important pillars of this Rogue roster. And Sathu proving that while he had a few misses in that first game, that's not going to continue into the second.
I think this was J-Russ that got a bump on both Rogue defenders. They both were just right on the ground in front of the goal. J-Russ barreled through them both. Nobody could make the stop there, but look at this. A bit of a fake kickoff from Rogue that does not work out, as this is boomed right back. I know, right? We've seen teams try it, especially in the grid, and keep saying, nobody makes it look even half as good as Marky and the Flipside Boys did back in the day.
I love a fake kickoff. It's just such a cheeky way of starting the game off. The only set piece, and you don't even commit to it fully. It's wonderful.
First Killer trying to go under Sathu, and he's much better off this time on the defensive end. He'll also get the clear downfield, looking to set up an opportunity for the Sonics, and one has been created. J-Russ trying to take advantage of a terrible clear, and then you get demos from First Killer and J-Russ. Another from Russ as well, taking out Pranovi. As the Sonics try to move downfield, they don't take advantage of their power play opportunity, and instead, Pranovi almost set up First Killer.
Loads of demos coming in from both sides now as well. Susquehanna realizing they can't just sit back and let the ball come to them and let the demos break down their defense. They need to send it over towards Rogue as well, as Rogue do start an offense, but Shock can now move up the pitch. They get it over Churro, just about.
No surprise to see plenty of physical play and demolitions. Again, almost 5 demolitions per game in the first couple of rounds from Rogue. Pranovi in a tough spot as he'll watch J-Russ roll this downfield. Jock had to pump the brakes for a moment there, and that allowed Pranovi the time he needed to get to the back wall and clear the ball away for a moment. A couple more opportunities go by the wayside for the Sonics. They'll keep the pressure on here, which sounds good, but if you don't have anything to show for it, you let Rogue hang around, and a team like Rogue staying close in a game like this is probably bad news the longer it goes on. His First Killer's got another demo. Pranovi's coming up. First has another. This is like the vert cam you guys have been familiar with.
Vert cam is a magical thing, and one day we'll get First Killer cam. It's going to be mechanical. It's going to be deadly.
I think on the day he's got like 25 demolitions. It's some crazy number.
I love the meta. Oh, and I love Churro for squeezing that one home.
I think this is a pool shot from First, too. I think he actually barrels into a defender. Does he? Yeah, he does.
I think maybe that was going in anyway, but First Killer wanted to secure it regardless. It's a pull shot. I'm not going to take that away. It's still a pull shot, and it brings Rogue even.
And again, the Sonics score first. They let Rogue hang around. Rogue does that to them. Churro dispossessed by Shock, but he'll still have this, and good thing Sathu happened to be there, but Churro still gets this downfield, and I think everybody thought this was going in. They kind of gave up on the play, but not First.
That's the moment in Ranked where you're talking to a mate in Discord and you hear them put down their controller and you're like, no, it's not in, it's not in, it's not in. Keep trying to save it. I'm first going to realize that, and he gets the lead for Rogue. Sathu again, finding himself in an awkward position. Less of a miss than we've seen previously, but I want to be able to see him bring himself into it a little bit more. Try and figure out his position so he's not having to adjust at the last minute.
Certainly not wanting for more on the offensive end, as he's got all 3 of Susquehanna's goals, as Shock will have to bang this off the center of his own backboard, and Rogue will retreat to just launch yet another attack. J-Russ down for Shock, however. This is good. He needs one more touch, and First Killer is not interested in that in the least.
First Killer
he
again
is interested in another demo.
Just getting those demos at the back are just so awkward. And he tries to go for Churro, which I respect. The friendly fire's not on, but, you know, he's still got that red in his eyes.
He has had quite a season so far between the first weekend of this regional and first few weeks of the grid, but he is left kind of dumbfounded here, and nothing he could do about J-Russ, as J-Russ just kind of left him in the dust.
Yeah, Churro had to get up quickly after the Pranovi Sathu 50-50 leaves the ball hanging in that awkward back third. And J-Russ sends it to the right of the goal. No defender there, and so they're able to pick up their second goal, bringing us once again back to even with just over 30 seconds remaining.
And an opportunity for the Sonics. His First Killer didn't get rid of this ball. Pranovi has to try and take over. Good luck, as the Sonics are circling around. Sathu underneath First Killer, and he adds his 4th goal of the series.
I've been harsh on Sathu with him defensively, but offensively, you can't really fault him. That deft touch to send it below First Killer, who assumed it was going to be banged in the middle of the net, has completely taken him off guard. Sathu, 3rd goal of this game.
And it gives Soniqs the lead very late. They almost had another off that challenge as Kronovi's going to have to work to get to this ball. J-Russ keeps it in the zone with now 10 seconds left. Another ball deep into the Rogue zone, making it even tougher for them to come back. Kronovi, though, hard off the backboard. First killer up in the general direction of Kronovi, and Shock will clear away. J-Russ looking to ground it. That is a job well done, and the Soniqs have tied the series.
Soniqs stealing it away in the last minute, putting on as much pressure as they possibly can, going by the fantastic ethos of, well, if we don't do this, then we lose. So let's just put everything on the line. They did so, and they ended up bringing it back. So 3-2 to Soniqs versus Rogue in game number 2. Series now at 1 apiece. I'm actually impressed with the Soniqs. I was happy to be one of their naysayers early on when they were having a few dramas at a very disappointing season in the end, in the RLCS before it turned into this fantastic new system. And yeah, they're looking much better, much more like how they want to play, where they're getting control of the game and stealing those demos away from Rogue as well.
Yeah, we constantly talk about how the Soniqs, as they were trying to find their, first of all, their third player, they're trying to tried a few different players out. J-Russ ultimately ends up being the guy that they struggled so much in the offseason, but so often we'll see in American sports, a team will go, 0-4 in the NFL preseason. The Colts used to do this all the time, and then they'd rally off 15 wins out of 16 weeks. It's like, okay, well, here we are. Once the games actually start counting, it seems like the Soniqs has flourished.
Yeah, Soniqs having a run in the grid as well. Not making it particularly far each time. They go to sort of playoff level, semi-finals. Only been a couple of weeks thus far, but a lot more action to be taking place across the grid. Fantastic games over there. As first killer, I don't even know if he faked out the defender here, because it was J-Russ that turned round and just massively overshot where he needed to be. Oh, he flipped and went past.
Whoopsies.
Do you reckon that's what was in his head at the time? Just, whoopsie.
Less than 40 seconds in, and Rogue has the lead in an all-important, tie-breaking third game here. Jock, beaten out by Kronovi. Can he center this ball? He certainly can stop Sathu from clearing. Turinturo bumps into Shock, and it's going to be tough for him as J-Russ could have that drop downward. And South USA all the way back. That's not a great touch, but I think it threw off first killer enough and forces Rogue to retreat to try and set up another attack.
We've just had it in our ears that Envy have managed to take down the Peeps in a 3-0 sweep. Peeps looking so strong from stage 1, coming through with a 3-0 as well. But Envy looking even stronger. One of the most hot and up-and-coming teams in this entire RLCSX format in NA.
Yeah, I'm totally not biased at all. First killer, by the way, absolutely killed Envy on Thursday night. 7 goals in their grid series of the quarterfinals from first alone. He got a little help from Kronovi here, interfering with Sathu, and for first, that makes 3 in the series for him.
And first killer, when he sees the opportunity to go for the shot after the call from Kronovi, he goes for it and he reads that so well off the corner as well. There's so much link-up play with Rogue. They are typically not referred to too much with their passing ability, but I feel it's one of their strongest suits. They have fantastic 1v1 players on the side in essentially every single player on Rogue, but their passing is just as incredible.
Jock trying to work out of the zone, got around Turinturo. Now Sathu got his shot off. Nobody else is back, and it's first killer who eats a demo on the way. A little karmic justice here.
Sathu taking that ball straight to first killer, over the top of him, and like you say, Stacks, does end up taking him down in the process. In this third game, that's the first goal for SQ. We've seen them come back from a 2-1 scoreline and win it, obviously, in the second game. So are they going to be able to relive that exact same magic?
Jock trying to go over top of Turinturo, who does well not only to get a piece of that ball, but also shift it over towards Kronovi. First killer, of course, gets yet another demo. I'd love to get the actual tally when all is said and done here. Kronovi looking for a center ball and almost got that by J-Russ. Going to be interesting to see how the Sonics adapt to the second half of this game as they try to chase this lead from Rogue. Shock, backboard to nobody in particular. Seems the Sonics not quite selling out on the offensive end just yet. Rogue, however, doesn't seem like they ever take their foot off the gas.
Yeah, Rogue have been putting pressure on pressure on pressure, but SQ getting pretty decent at dealing with that. Sathy with the fake over to Shock with the dunk. Stacks, you said that you wanted them to pick it up in this second half of the game. Is that enough for you?
Yeah, that's decent. I mean, what a fake. Kronovi's still reacting to that ball going by him. My goodness. 2 minutes left. Brand new ball game.
I mean, it's a position that SQ aren't afraid of being in. They're completely happy to chase. In this series alone, they've had comebacks, and it's not going to be a worry for them. J-Ross not coming in quick enough there to take advantage of an awkwardly placed Churo.
That was weird. I don't think J-Ross was anywhere near that ball when all was said and done.
He should have been.
Killer. Gives a little high five to Sathy on his way downfield, and that is misread on the backboard by J-Ross, so Kronovi will clean it up.
The yips switch from Sathy to J-Ross as Kronovi can take advantage of the miss on the backboard. Sends Rogue into the 3-2 lead. That will also end up being the first goal for Kronovi as well in this match after doing so well in the first couple. Maybe wants to try and push First Killer out of the way at the top of the scoreboard.
One thing that might have otherwise gone unnoticed there, we just saw it in that goal replay. Kronovi got a little bump on J-Russ before he jumped. I think that's the big difference between a veteran in Kronovi and kind of the new guy in J-Russ. As Kronovi's got this in front. J-Russ, a little panic jump again, but First Killer will eventually score.
When you're in net there with all three of you waiting by the line and you just hear First Killer's boost, it must be terrifying. Shock not landing that backflip as well as he wanted to, and First Killer able to take full advantage. Looking similar to game one now, as Rogue get a couple of late goals to send them clear.
4-2 was indeed the scoreline in that opening game, but this one may be 5-2 as Turanturo was waiting on the back wall. And now Kronovi challenged by Sathu. He wins that challenge to Sath, but Turanturo just gets back in time. And how fortunate, that goes right to Kronovi. Shock trying to get a piece of Crow, but instead, that was kind of a hairy situation. A back pass almost went awry. Sonics really have to go after it now. Shock has that ball centered for J-Russ. What a fine touch. J-Russ put that on target, but Kronovi still makes the save. And that may be the last hope for the Sonics here. They've got to score in the next few seconds to give themselves a shot at a kickoff goal. And, well, that rolls a long way before Shock gets to it. J-Russ feathers one for Shock. Got to go in now, and First Killer with the demo. How fitting as he takes out J-Russ to secure victory in Game 3.
Shock taking a lot longer than he should have done, I feel. He rotated and did end up missing that side boost, contributing to his wide berth around the ball to then whip it up and over. That's not what you want in that time, though. That's the point where you just need to make sure that you can get the touch as early as possible and then go in for the attack. But Rogue winning it again, 4-2. They are now 1 goal away from going at 2-1 in this Swiss format. Remember, everybody, first to 3 wins and you're through. Make sure you do that before you lose 3 times, otherwise you are out. The top 8 from today will be going through to our playoffs tomorrow as well. And Rogue looking pretty good, pretty comfortable in some of these games as well, where there's just the errors that they are relying on getting from the Sonics to then score goals from.
4-2, 3-2, 4-2. The teams have traded wins back and forth. So it would only make sense that this game just doesn't matter. We fast forward to Game 5, but we have to play it out, see if the Sonics can follow the script that we have set forth for them, as J-Russ just has to wait there awkwardly. That is not the kind of start that Sonics were looking for in this game. Kind of a bad omen, perhaps, of things to come, as Turanturo rolls one to Kronovi. Boy, that came out quick, but Shock was able to react.
Yeah, I think SQ are going to need to get themselves an early goal or 2 in this game, because otherwise They're good at bringing it back, but do they want to be in a position to bring it back? They failed to in the first and third games. Maybe it was an outlier game number 2 rather than the standard.
Again, they came in as the second highest scoring team in the tournament. They also gave up more goals than only a few other teams, and those teams are not doing so well in the standings. So, that's how you get to 1-1. Rogue, meanwhile, they've been the most physical team, and they have not abandoned that at all. Shock looking to follow this through, and, well, he had all 3 defenders to beat. That was never going to happen, but it has set up an opportunity for the Sonics, so nobody else forward to play that ball from J-Russ.
I mean, game number 2, you were talking about how physical Rogue have been, but the match that Susquehanna Soniqs won is where they were most physical, where they were getting bumps and demos and were returning that aggression back to Rogue. That's something that I really feel they're going to need to work back towards.
J-Russ taking his time. That's going to be left for Shock on the rebound. And Shock will steal that boost away from Kronovi.
Good steal.
So we'll see if this opens anything up. Again, they have not been diving into the Rogue zone by any means, and Rogue will have yet another big clear. It just seems like everything takes a little too long to develop for the Sonics. Here's Shock trying to barrel his way through again. Got one more touch to roll that out to J-Russ.
Secures the flip reset on the ball as he just attempts to go for the 50, gets it there, and then backflips out towards J-Russ, who, thank God, was in a prime position there. The first goal going to SQ. That might be what they need to win game number 4.
Fortune favors the bold, and finally, when the Sonics go all in on the offensive end, it works out for them. J-Russ now for Sathu to roll this downfield. That's going to be tough for Kronovi as he eats a demo, and they almost got Turo as well. But now Turo back towards an empty net. Oh, they got too comfortable on the offensive end.
So there was the big clear from Churo, and Shock didn't anticipate it would get past J-Russ that easily. Sathu going for a meander towards that right boost as he can't get back in time because he does have 0. I don't think he would have done even if he got the 100, to be honest, as Churo just snipes it.
First killer, demo off the kickoff. That opens up for Turo, and that demo almost scored that. J-Russ credited with a save. I don't know how he could have seen that ball, though. I'm pretty sure he would have been smoke screened. The hits keep on coming from First Killer and Rogue. In a brand new game in Game 4, Turo looking to set up Kronovi. Now Crow has to come up, and Turo just interfering with Shock a little bit.
Crow getting a nice touch in the middle, slows down that entire return, but no SQ player is going to challenge it. Kronovi with the first touch and can then also come back and get the second. You definitely need to be more offensive right now, SQ.
Kronovi almost got that through. This goes all the way back. Turo was trying to play it away from any Sonics. Didn't realize Shock was there, but then J-Russ got caught spectating as Kronovi took him out of the play.
That's a great read as well from First Killer. From his own goal line, it's so awkward to try and clear it away. But he's been in that position 1,000 times before in his ones games. If he gets caught short, is normally able to deal with it. And Churo not able to deal with that save that comes in by the keeper.
Oh, Sathu was trying to play around one, and First Killer was watching him like a hawk from midfield. Now First got to guide this ball back and away from any orange attackers. Sathu for the double. Dropped that down and threw off First Killer for a moment, but he made a nice recovery. 1 minute remains in regulation. We haven't had an overtime yet, but we have had 3 4/5 of a very close series.
I mean, so far, Rogue are being given so much time on the ball in the midfield because SQ are scared to take the challenge to them. And are they doing anything with it? Not really. Their one goal was just they got a runaway shot.
This is all for Turo now as Kronovi tried to get a couple of bumps through on his way through. What a save by, I think it was Shock that ultimately got it. That ball was halfway across the line with the Sonics defense kind of tangled up there after Kronovi's bump attempts. 17 seconds As this goes out in front, J-Russ can't get around to it. He's the only one challenging the play. Sathu was waiting. Now Shock's shot is sent away, and Kronovi gets taken out. There will be no breakout for Rogue. They have to defend till the last as J-Russ pushed it wide. Shock will provide one last opportunity. J-Russ downs it, and now we go to OT, but the Sonics are going to want that one back.
J-Russ had that shot on a platter. He just needs to get on target and sends it wide of the post. That chance to go to Game 5 before overtime. It couldn't have been more perfect, and he has flubbed it. Now he needs to prove himself here, lest they lose.
Sathu, tough angle, trying to get to that ball on the wing. Now Kronovi gets around one, and Turinturo will play this for first killer. Loose in midfield, it is Kronovi getting a shot officially, but Sathu with an easy save. Jock, he thought about turning, has to wait on the goal line, and that's going to open things up for Rogue. Because again, Shock and the Sonics just playing a little too hesitantly here.
What a read from Crow there. To stop that from going over the halfway line, he had to jump so early and get 2 reads off the walls. Great challenge by him.
First killer collects. Doesn't have a ton to work with, but he will get downfield, try to steal some boost of his own. Now, great pass out to Turinturo. Easy save for Shock.
J-Russ fancied it as well.
Here is J-Russ. First killer and Kronovi collide. This is an opportunity, but Sathu not there in time. Now Kronovi, empty net, and that's the series.
Shock, where are you going, you silly Billy? That is the biggest third man dive in I've seen for a while. That was never his ball to go for. Kronovi, for about 3 seconds, was winding up to absolutely pelt it towards the SQ net. Shock didn't read it somehow and throws game number 4. But Rogue, man, taking it over SQ. 3-1. They held the pressure. They held out, and I think there's going to be a couple of players on Sonics there that will be kicking themselves going into their next matchup.
Oh, no question. The series bookended by goals from Kronovi. Had the hat trick in game 1. Then he comes up with an overtime winner, just the freest goal of his life. And boy, the Sonics again. It feels like they shot themselves in the foot numerous times in that series. And you can see now how a team that can score almost 3 goals a game can now be 1 and 2 because they lacked a lot on the defensive end.
Yeah, there was a few times where SQ just decided to go for challenges that they definitely shouldn't have gone for, where they were just straight up a few defensive whiffs, mainly Sathu in that regard, unfortunately. But all 3 players, to be honest, they didn't manage to get... I don't think that was their best game ever, and they will be kicking themselves, but as it is with the Swiss format, they've got to carry on, Stacks.
They do indeed, and we have to carry on. We've got NRG and 72 PC coming up right after this as E-League's coverage of RLCS Season X rolls on.